kitchen. This is the acorn, the granulated dried acorn that we made in the last video. And today we're going to be making acorn falafels. Last night I took 1.5 cups of the dried granulated acorn and I soaked it in water. I also have chickpeas soaking in water and bulgur wheat soaking in water. This is a super simple recipe. It's equal parts of everything. It's easy to remember and it's really easy to whip up. I'm using the recipe that's in my book, Eating Acorns, and it calls for 1 cup of each ingredient. Because I'm having people over today and I want to make a little bit more, I'm going to make it 50% more. I'm going to use 1.5 cups. Amount of celery to onion, in this case about 1.5 cups of each. Then I want to grind the chickpeas that have been soaking overnight. These are chickpeas that did not have skins on them. I try to buy organic always. Well, not always. It's hard to find here. So when I say 1.5 cups of each of these things, it's 1.5 cups when it's dry. After it's been in water, it increases in volume significantly, about double. Ooh, loving that. Look at that. So you can use canned chickpeas, but it's such a shame. These are so much more nutritious. And it's really easy to have them on hand all the time in the house. And whenever you get the urge to use them, you just remember to pop them in water the night before. So what I see is that it doubled exactly. So I put 1.5 cups of dried chickpeas in water overnight, and the next day it had increased to 3 cups volume. So I'm going to have enough falafel for an army here. Now we drained the bulgur wheat. It's been soaking for at least 15-20 minutes. This one doesn't have to soak overnight. Add that to the chickpea. drain the acorn. The acorn can be used immediately after grinding and the last soak, or it can be used from the freezer, or it can be used dried and rehydrated like I did this time by putting it in water overnight. So as soon as all the excess water has been shaken out, and we add that to our mix. So for this recipe that we've put 1.5 cups of all the other ingredients, we're going to use 3 tablespoons of tomato puree. And with salt. You can always add more later. Pepper, and this is dried mint that I collected and dried from the garden. Fresh mint would be even better, but it's not in season yet. Loads of mint, they need loads of mint. Okay. Just mix it all together. It becomes the consistency of ground beef. And it will need to sit and continue soaking in the moisture for about 20 minutes. And then it will be ready to form into balls for frying. Super simple, super tasty, and super nutritious. This is a vegan recipe, otherwise you could add an egg. I am blessed enough to have fresh olive oil from the olive grove here at Red Tractor Farm. Unlimited olive oil. So that's 1, 2, 3 tablespoons for the 1.5 cup version of this. So as soon as you've got it all mixed up, let it sit for at least 10 minutes. I'll probably let it sit for about 30 minutes because I have some other things to do. And then we'll come back and roll it into balls and fry them. The mix has had a chance to sit and absorb most of the moisture. Recycle this piece of parchment paper that I used for drying the acorn. And just grab a ping pong sized ball, compress it. If you find it sticking to your hands, if you moisten your hands a bit, that will help. This is a good job for kids. If you show them how to do it, they love it. Maybe this is a good time to mention the red, obviously homemade bracelet that I'm wearing. In Greece, we have an ancient tradition of putting on a red and a white thread at the beginning of March, and we wear it for the entire month of March. It's called a Martis, which is the word for March, and it signifies the coming of spring. At the end of the month, I'll cut it off my wrist and hanging in a tree for a bird to use it for their nest building. This tradition goes back at least a couple thousand years. I'm experimenting with size. I'm making some of them a little bit smaller. When they go into the hot oil, you want them to cook all the way through. All these ingredients are still raw. And I'm also going to experiment with freezing this mix and seeing what happens when I take it out of a frozen state, see if it holds up okay. Because I overdid it on the quantity today. You'll need a heavy bottom pan. I'm using corn oil. You could use sunflower oil. And you need enough oil to have the falafel burgers submerged about halfway. Once your oil has heated up, I like to flatten them a little bit so I'm sure that they get cooked all the way through. Them unstuck from the bottom. You don't want to do this too soon, otherwise they'll fall apart. Get them floating. Really good. These falafel turned out really, really well. I'm going to figure out some kind of yogurt-based sauce now that I can dip them in. I mixed some organic tahini up with some lactose-free yogurt. Gonna put a couple of those in there. A little bit of sesame. A little bit more sesame. And then just roll them up. Not very elegant. I hope you enjoyed learning how to make falafel from the Acorn that we learned how to make in the last video. And please subscribe so you don't miss any of the new stuff I'll be posting. And until then, keep eating acorns.